Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. Welcome to June 10th through 17th. It is a dicey week, you guys. Let's get right in because I feel as though we have set good foundation for the follow-up stuff that's kind of coming at us this week. Okay, the big hefty piece of it is that Mars, which is our warrior planet. It's how we stick up for ourselves. It's why we stick up for ourselves. It is our why, our fundamental gut check why is going to be squaring, which is a hard aspect, Pluto, which is the planet of big transformation. Okay, so there is going to be conflict. There's going to be friction. It's like, come out wherever you are. There's no more hiding. Whatever the issue has been that's under the surfaces of life, it's here, baby. Like, it is here. It wants to say hello. And whether you like conflict or not, like is maybe the wrong word, whether you engage in conflict or not is really going to be up for review this week. I want to say that nothing is forever. This might be a very big astrological note in the sky right now, but no matter what gets drudged up or, making us have to deal with something hard, it's not forever. And the medicine always, when conflict arises, is how we clear it so that it's cleared. When we avoid conflict, when we are people that do not like conflict, because there's loads of us, most of us, I would say, don't love it, then it begs the question, where does the problem go if you don't face it? Where's the healing if we don't address the wound? We don't like infections. No, we certainly do not on our physical body. So why do we want shit festering in our inner body? So whatever has been festering for you, for the world, for the collective, wherever this is hitting in your astrology, because it's going to hit everybody different, is going to be up for review. There's no hiding. So that's why, to me, it's a really big astrological moment because it is not only a moment to be confronted with maybe conflict or with something inside of ourselves that we can't keep down anymore, but it is the notion of the peaceful warrior. It is the opportunity to be the change you wish to see in the world, to be the problem solver. It's so interesting that our society, our universe connects conflict with violence. And I just don't think that there needs to be both in the same room at the same time. So it's a mindful practice. I know that it's very easy, right? To be mindful, to be thinking of our loveliest of things when there is no conflict around us. It's easier to be mindful. But I actually think that these moments in time give us the opportunity to understand mindfulness different, but then to also understand your boundaries different, to understand your yeses different, to understand your no's different. Is there a way we can say things that takes other into consideration? Listen, I'm all about the self-righteous power. We all need to feel powerful. At times, we all need to be in our power. But this week is really going to be about power dynamics. What's your role in that? As you're watching conflict unfold this week, what's your role in it? What's your accountable piece? Are you working towards the solution or are you not? And it's a really good time to think and talk about why and how we fight. Because the truth is, we all have been raised different. We all have been hurt different. And so, some people come into a fist fight with knives and guns, Some of us come into an emotional battle way more equipped to fight than the other. And that's when conflict happens, is when you're working towards being right or working towards the problem instead of shifting your focus towards the solution. Because the truth is, we're human beings. We're all going to face conflict. We're all going to get our feelings hurt, and we're all going to be treated in a certain type of way sometimes that sucks ass. There's going to be so many moments where you make a mistake and say something that's not chill. If we're going for perfection in this life, then you're gonna be very disappointed often in this life. Excellence is wonderful. Strive for it. Go for it. Do things with the intention of that. But here is the trip. Here is the trip up. Here is the time where we fall in front of the entire, class, and we have to recognize what it ignites in us. What hurts the most? Do you hate feeling stupid? Do you hate feeling embarrassed? Like, what's the emotion that triggers conflict the most for you? What is the problem within your family unit, within your work-life reality? Excuse me. What is the thing that triggers you the most? And if you can, listen, this is like primo. You ain't just driving a Toyota. This is the Mercedes of self-recognition, of higher level conscious thinking. When you know what it is about you that creates conflict. Most of us are going to go our whole life not exactly knowing why. That's why you hear it all the time. Why me? Why does this always happen to me? Why? So much of the why that we disempower ourselves when we say that. We're literally saying that we don't get the law of attraction, the action reaction, that we are consciously denying our role, our participation in what is happening to us. And now listen, I can get into major victim mentality very easily because as a Libra, I try very, very hard. Libra is about the scales, balance, law, fair, relationships. I try very hard to maintain harmony. And so when I feel that harmony gets snatched from me, it's never my fault, right? I couldn't possibly, not little old me, have had over so many years of my life had to take accountability for the fact that, yes, I want harmony. Yes, I make it about other more than I make it about myself. And therein lies the problem. There's where the resentment grows, right? The martyr. Hello. I can definitely attach myself to that symbol, the martyr, the person who martyrs themselves, but to what end? Like, what am I getting out of that? Plenty, okay? Everybody is. When someone does something for someone else, yes, good, wonderful, we're being lovely, but don't forget that it's just as much for that person, the person who does the good act, than it is for the act that was done to the other person. We get all of the good, whatever releases into our brain when we're doing good. That's it. There is no such thing as an unselfish act. There is, okay? We don't need to debate the point. There definitely is a way in which we can act unselfishly, but we're always energy beings. We're always giving and receiving energy. And when we give clean energy, we are allowing our body to be clean. So we are getting something from the good that we do. Don't forget that, because I think often when we're overgivers, or when we're always trying to avoid conflict, as is the topic this week, that we're also taking away really important lessons in self-worth. Fighting is just as much an art as making love. If you can fight well in this life, then you're doing pretty good. Conflict resolution is one of the hardest things to grow up and into, because conflict starts when we feel wronged. Conflict starts usually when there is a trespass. Conflict starts when we have been holding something inside of ourselves. So think about the world shifting on its axis if every single person viewed conflict as a personal problem. It's not a you thing, it's a me thing. Whatever's going on around you, how you are responding to the problem is the solution or non-solution. Understand that the world is full of narcissists. The world is full of hate and hateful people. Are they all the way hateful all the time? Maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know. I'm not judging nobody, okay? I am not coming from any kind of pedestal. We're none of us perfect. See how I said that? Very grammatically incorrect. Because we're not. You know, Mythbuster, there's no way you're not going to make mistakes. There's no way you're not going to do something wrong. So take off the weight of perfection and start having an active relationship with the conflict. Stop burying it. Stop making it a non sequitur. Stop disassociating. Stop putting you away from the problem, because the problem's just going to be like, all right, I'll catch you next month. It's going to look a little different, but it's going to be the same vibe. You know, it's sometimes I've always found that the hardest moments of our life are where the biggest life lessons come, are where the beautiful moments seep in, because diamonds are forged under pressure. Because the way to get to the end of the rainbow is to go on the adventure in the first place. And no adventure ever did run smooth. I am a big book reader, and to me, I like to associate a lot of why we make stories, what we're creating, why we're creating it, to be part of the human condition. And the more stories you read and the more engagement you have with the notion of a hero's journey, with the notion of conflict, with the notion of tension, and what happens when we're working in tension. That's why improv can be so frightening to some and so exciting to others, because you're creating unknowable tension. You're entering into a room and anything can happen. That's the beauty and the nature of doing something in person, of showing up, even if you don't know how it's going to go. Being righteously present with what is now, instead of trying to bury it, instead of trying to placate it, instead of trying to say what you need to say to get around it. Well, guess what? It's just going to be at the next corner. What are all of the adages? What you resist persists. Your vibe attracts your tribe. These things on sentiments are used for a reason. The reason why is because no amount of accountability protects us from our bears. I use the term bear. It's like we all have a bear, a thing that we have to get over, a thing that we have to work through. And we all have those bears, and it's how we engage with the bear. Because in some spiritual medicines, bear is extremely nurturing. It knows when to rest. It knows when to play. But then if you take bear to the other extreme, it can be violent and scary and attacking and anger. Peaceful warrior shit right here, you guys. How we're living with our bears. How we're living with the things that are the hardest for us to cope with, to live with, to sit side by side with. We have a lot of dark shadows, and I love this for us because this is part of the human growth cycle. I mean, nobody gets away alive, you guys. I hate to break it to you. You know, none of us get off easy. Even when you look at somebody else's life and it looks amazing, there's always a caveat. There's a price. Every fairy tale you read, happiness comes at a cost. And I don't think that these stories are written for no reason. I don't think that we love reading about tumult for no reason. We love it because we are in search. We are searching beings. And the moment you stop searching is the moment complacency and the monsters under the bed take control. They have power over you. Because when you can't stand up straight in the face of your own life storms, then you get taken for the ride. Some of us more than others. And you have to ask yourself, what ride do I want to go on? I can see this week as a week of empowerment, because in the midst of great conflict, how are you going to show up? How are you going to stand your ground? How are you going to be mindful and willing to encourage more consciousness, more awareness, more accountability, to work through the conflict, work through it instead of around it, right? Going on a bear hunt, you can't go over it, you can't go under it. You're going to have to go through it. If you're not willing to go through the dangerous parts of your life, then your life will in fact become very dangerous because you are creating a limited amount of space for which to walk on. Eggshells, I like to call them. I read this romance novel. I do love a good romance every once in a while by Abby Jimenez. I don't know if that's how you say her last name, but she writes really sweet, lovely romances when you need a break from, the Kafkas of the world and the Dostoevsky's men. Why? I don't know. Why do you love Dostoevsky so much? He just makes me so sad. Anyway, so I'm reading this romance novel, and what they said to each other was that they want to be harmless to each other. I love that so much because when our goal is to be harmless, when our goal is to work with our power dynamics in a way that it both empowers us and righteously empowers the person you're in conflict with, wow. I think it says a lot more about someone who can be really hurt and angry and go into this with all of those feelings and find resolution. Not, we'll deal with this later, or not like some stupid, we kind of went around the issue and now we're going to pretend like it didn't happen, but really embrace the conflict and strive and champion for the solution. Because if you are not a solution-oriented person, when was your power taken away from you and why? When was the moment you realized that you couldn't find a solution, that you were trapped, that the fear of how you got to the solution would ruin a relationship, a friendship, a family member, and so you didn't. And so you hid your power, and so you hid behind the walls of how we're supposed to be good all the time, because we're never going to be good all the time. That's just not so. So that's the beginning of the week. Okay. Middle of the week, Wednesday, we have a Mercury Cazimi. Cazimi is my favorite word, you guys, which means Mercury, thoughts, communication, is going to be right in the middle of the sun, blasting an answer, a solution, a thought process that helps. So whatever the conflict is, understand that there is a solution. Don't give up. There is solutions for the problems that we have. You just have to be willing to go there. So we get a little reward. But also, and Mercury, thoughts, communication, squaring, hard aspect, challenging, Saturn. So what are you thinking? What are you communicating? Because listen, if you're taking the easy road, Saturn's going to be like, boom, take it back. Let's run it back again. Hard astrology can work in our favor. When we see it coming, how we're communicating is up for a big review and lesson. What we're saying, why we're saying it. So important, right? It's kind of everything. The delivery is kind of everything. How do we give power to ourselves and allow others to be powerful too? Okay? That is the theme of this week. How do we let us all win? And that's not always going to happen. But the best way to win is to feel good in how you contributed to the solution. And then this weekend, we have a really sweet Neptune and Venus vibe. So we're going to bliss out. We're going to want to put all this intensity to the side. Some of us are going to overspend, overindulge, overdo. But let the dream be here. Have a weekend. Enjoy the release points that come when we do the work. So here we go, guys. Do the work this week and then freaking reap the benefits of how it feels to just not have any more fucks to give. Take them out of your pocket, spread them somewhere else, put them in the garden. No more fucks to give this weekend. We gave enough fucks. Good job. Congratulations. You're a full adult now. We have worked through some conflict, hopefully very consciously in the way that I have described. And then we get to have some Venus, Neptune dreamy dreams. Okay. And some of us take that and run with it. And we get too drunk and then we have to deal with the hangover, proverbial or literal. My advice to you this week is to feel powerful, is to embrace change, is to understand that no matter what's happening, nothing is forever, and that the more you're willing to change and the more you're willing to work towards the solution, the more the world is willing to find solutions for you going forward, right? Here's the card I pulled, which is suppression. Totally, right? The other card I pulled is isolation. Totally, right? I mean, when we aren't living in our truth, when we aren't enacting positive change for ourselves, then we isolate ourselves and we suppress ourselves. And all of that is going to be super up. It's going to be super up, whether it blows up or whether it's just the freaking vibe of the week, you guys. This is what we're dealing with. There is that notion of what is built up, what tartar, what plaque of emotions are living inside of you that are going to start to feel really messed up this week, because you're not going to, sometimes we're able to suppress, to isolate, to like pretend like it's not there. But this week we're not. This week we need to like dredge it up, because honestly, you guys, this is how disease breeds inside of us, is when we hold all of this crap inside of us, and we can't do it. We can't do it. If you are not a confrontational person, you journal that bitch. You freaking walk it out. You do whatever it is that is actively working and in process. We don't have to fight to learn about our conflict. We don't have to scream to understand our anger. And we don't have to cry to get out our resentments or sorrow. You really can reinforce yourself by empowering yourself and being a solution-oriented individual this week. So I hope you find the solution. I hope I find the solution. I hope whatever it is, whatever tension, whatever constriction is good information going forward on how the rest of the summer, because listen, next week we have solstice, we have a big, beautiful moon. It's going to be a really, really beautiful week to release all that's been worked through and worked on. So have faith, take heart. Thank you so much for listening. Comment how this week has been for you on any of my platforms. Like, follow me, whatever you can do. Call me up for a reading, because I got your back. And I super love participating in the soup of imperfection with all of you. See you next week.